Psalm 80, 17 through 19 says, "Let your hand be with the one on your right side, with the one whom you secured as your own. Then we will not turn away from you. Revive us so that we can call on your name. Restore us, Lord God of heavenly forces. Make your face shine so that we can be saved." In the vestibule of the sanctuary, there's a plaque, and on that plaque are the names of those who have served our church as clergy. So it's a big old list, along with dates. And each name, each life, and all their complication and breadth gives me pause. In fact, I found entries for one of our pastor's families and slaves in an old membership book. And it was interesting to see it because it became clear to me that this act, just listing the names, was a break. It was an act of rebellion. I mean, why list property in the membership book? Well, you wouldn't. The pastor was pushing the envelope. And maybe not waving a flag from the top of a building or being recognized on any of our country's currency, but that resistance, it has its effect. It changes the world around them. And y'all, I'm painfully aware of how much I fall short of all that these folks have accomplished in their ministries. And I say painful because I ache to do more, to be more, at least as I see it. I say far short because as I read the minutes and look at the bulletins from over the many years of our congregation, I am aware of the advances that God has made with our church, with each partnership of ministry and congregation. Now, this is not to say that I've done nothing. It would be silly and disingenuous to say that in the face of all that God has done. However, in spite of my efforts, yet I am amazed, not just at the changes in Mebane, like Tanger, which opened a month after I started over these 15 years, or in our neighborhoods, apartment complexes that shadow familiar places, or in our congregation, right? No more sledding on 119. But also in me. I would be remiss to ignore all that you have taught me and shown me, the ways that you have blessed me and caused me to pause and reassess, the ways in which I hold in balance and sometimes imbalance my own needs and the needs of our congregation, our presbytery, our denomination, and our God. One thing for which I am profoundly grateful are the ways in which you have taken to my family. Thank you for making Mandy, Rachel, Natalie, and me a part of the community. I also appreciate greatly your respect of two major boundaries, our space in the manse and my day off. Now, it may not sound like much, but there are stories and clergy forums full of posts of congregations ignoring the living space boundaries of their pastors. And though the house has always belonged to Hawfields, you all treated it as though it belonged to us. It was and is so important for us to have our own space. Also, even though my cell phone has been published from the beginning of my time here publicly, I can tell you that with little exception, you all have chosen to honor my day off. It was and is so important for me to have that time. But you also kept your emphasis expressed to me from when I was first interviewed, that my family and their needs should come first. I appreciate that flexibility and understanding greatly. And as I think about the changing nature of our Mebane community and the ways that has started expressing itself in our congregation, I am grateful for your tolerances and genuine openness to the experiment, the proposals, the efforts to broaden our scope and to embrace. I'm also grateful for all the ways that you have permitted me the privilege and opportunities to share in your most intimate and profound stories, circumstances, and struggles. Your trust is not lost on me, even if I haven't always acknowledged or acted in ways that express that to you. You not only gave me a chance to experience the profound strength of our folks, but also to learn a lot about myself. As I said, I've gained insight from you all. Now, as many of you know, I grew up in the military. Moving around frequently was just a given of life. But you all have taught me and my family to make roots. Mandy and I have lived here longer than anywhere else in our lives, 3 to 4 times as long. And that's not hyperbole. That's a literal, objective truth for us. Moving around as much as we have, as much as we did, makes it difficult to adjust to living somewhere long term. You have taught us to make Nevin our home, and I simply cannot imagine being able to thank you enough for that. I appreciate also the joy and privilege to be able to work alongside my wife. When she was hired, you all were careful to interview her and consider her on her own merits and skills. Wisely so. But learning to work together was our task. And that wouldn't have been possible without your act of faith. But more than just being able to work with Mandy all these years, I am grateful for her support and wisdom and care as my best friend and home. No matter what I may have contemplated or faced, Mandy was and is my anchor and true north. And so as I contemplate what comes next, I must, of course, thank God. I am grateful for God's call on my life and God's call on the life of Hawfields, this 268 years. As we, like our forebears, hand-wring over the future of our church and its finances, yes, that was a consistent and constant concern throughout our long life. I'm encouraged and grateful for all the ways God continues to come through for us. And not just in terms of money. I dare say the larger blessing are the people over the years who have demonstrated such faith in that infamous Protestant work ethic. All the historians, teachers, farmers, manufacturers, doctors, nurses, lawyers, carpenters, musicians, painters, graphic designers, interior designers, dancers, accountants, firefighters, law enforcement folks, EMTs, real estate agents, administrators, homemakers, postal workers, politicians, writers, brick masons, missionaries, liturgists, elders, deacons, clerks, trustees, officers, fathers, mothers, children, and youth, and so much more, all collaborating over generations to form a dream established. Standing on the shoulders of so many, it is one of my true sins that I've taken all of that and you for granted from time to time. But on this occasion of Mandy's and my anniversary here, I acknowledge a truth that gets spoken at the communion table so often. Excuse me, the only proper response to God's grace is gratitude. The only proper response to all of you is indeed gratitude. So thank you, Hawfields. And may God's face shine